All right, we are
All
back.
right. Yep, we are back. This time for the next issue of our D.Gray Man reverse light novel.
The second one. We managed to finish all three of the chapters in a single sitting, Grin and I, compared to the first one where it took over the course of a few days. We just locked in. It also helped that the first chapter was extremely short. That took like less than 10 minutes to read through.
First chapter, well, what can I say? Very, very
My
cool.
goat.
It's like
The
small,
Millennium
like, run
Goat.
through of of the Millennium Earl with this kid, lying on his back,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like being carried by the Millennium Earl as the Millennium Earl goes around and does his visits.
Yeah.
We got to see a small glimpse of who I think is Road near the end.
Yeah.
And not too sure who this kid is.
He's just a random kid that just happened to cross the goat's path.
Yep.
He got to be held by the goat. He got to be caressed by the goat. He got to meet the goat. He got to speak to the goat. The goat got to meet these other denizens.
We also got to see like three separate instances of like people grieving. And,
the goat doing the goat work. Job well done, King.
Yeah. Nothing much in the first chapter.
Yeah.
The first chapter is really
uneventful easy. Chapter, but you listen. With a character as charismatic as the Earl, you truly do not need much. He's a character who's just entertaining to watch, to behold. Like the way he interacts with the world. The descriptions, man, the writing itself, the descriptions, fire. Cooking.
Whoever translated it or whoever was doing the translation, they cooked. They went hella crazy with descriptions. But of all chapter 2,
the highlight of the volume, the most special of the chapters.
It's the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
It's the main shit.
It literally is the volume cover of this. That second chapter.
Was phenomenal. I mean, where do I even start? The relationship between Bookman and Lavi was kind of consistent all the way throughout from what we've already seen. Although this Lavi was a little bit more immature, a little bit more upbeat, I guess, to some extent. We got introduced to one of the best characters we've ever been introduced to, which is Doug.
Yeah.
Goated character. He was a finder. Compared to, I forgot what the other guy's name was in Volume 1 in the first novel.
I forget him as well.
Yeah, compared to him and the finder we get introduced to in Kanda's backstory, Doug was awesome.
Doug is so well written, man. It's crazy how that a light novel character could be written with this much, be given this much sauce.
So, first you get kind of introduced to Doug and the relationship between Doug and Lavi, and Doug's emotional and sees Lavi as as someone who's kind of putting on a facade of a persona or whatever. But you're quickly told that there is some instances of people going missing, and in a city near Paris, I think Elise is the name of the city that they were.
They heard rumors of the statue of the goddess. Then they go. Then the three characters go to investigate.
Yeah, so they basically go there. We get a cute little intro scene where they go, they meet a tavern, whatever. They have some food. Really nice. But soon after that, after heading to the having got to Elise and having gone to a tavern, they kind of gather information, listen in, and gather information from two random dudes talking out loud about a guy called Jerome.
Yeah.
Right?
Jerome, yeah. And Serge, and they talk about the girl, the maid, Colette.
They talk about they talk about Jerome and how he's sick and
the wife died. The wife passed away, and this guy
He's sick, and he has a son who's like an idiot or something. And
Yeah.
The group basically decides to go to the mansion and check it out.
And there was also the part where they talked about how Jerome was also like seen walking out late at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we kind of go to the mansion. We're introduced to Colette, one of the is like a 10-year-old girl who's basically forced into servitude for the family.
Yeah.
Because her father.
He owed a debt.
Basically.
Yeah,
he owed a debt,
and all her family.
Died.
Yeah. All her family died, so now she's pretty much working for them in their employment.
Yeah.
And the master Jerome took pity on her and cared about her.
Initially, we're introduced to, initially after the short introduction to Colette, we meet Serge, who at the time seemed like it's kind of sad for him because
an honorable good guy who cared about his father and all that.
Yeah. We kind of leave, are told that there are people who come to to the house, the mansion, to inquire about a diamond pendant that is apparently passed on the lineage. Whatever, it's like 300-carat diamond pendant, right? And
that's
it's
right, 300
carats. Gives like good luck or whatever. 300-carat diamond pendant. Yeah, it's like supposedly gives good luck. It's like a pendant of good fortune.
Yeah.
Some stuff happens, and we leave, and we head back, and then at some point we see
then after that he also talks about how
as they're leaving, there's a moment where Labby believes that Colette might be a Aqua he tests her, but he fucks up and realizes she's just a human.
Yeah, she cries.
So
she cries. Yeah, Doug chastises them, and then they try to make up for it, and they pretty much go out and do some shopping. We get a bit of dialogue. We learn more about. This is where we get an interesting piece of dialogue about Lavy's eye patch and a bit of internalization about how only Bookman Sr. is allowed to know about this, and that whatever is in that eye is directly linked to why he became a Bookman.
Reason to become a Bookman.
Yeah, which Grin, you and I theorized. We even talked about this in one of the videos, that the reason for that we speculated that whatever is related to that eye is directly related to his past and what led up to him becoming a Bookman. And that's something like this. But this adds us a bit more intrigue to whatever that eye is, because it shows like, okay, it gives us these questions like, okay, what kind of eye is that? Does it have some special property? Does it have like some sort of ability? Like, what is there? Yeah. We're never gonna know. Never comes back later in this in that chapter. We probably will never get an answer to that until way later in the manga.
As they're leaving, what do you call it? Doug basically tells Colette that he'll help carry the bags and give her a treat or whatever. And as they're heading out, they accidentally run into Serge basically talking to these goons, whatever.
No.
And
so that was like a different scene where Serge is the one that's like paying them the money. So first they meet Bookman, and then they pretty much decide to like wait to pretty much keep a lookout, and then way later in the scene, pretty much Serge wants to get rid of these guys because he thinks that these guys are also after the fortune. Even though this guy he recognized that they were from the Black Order. But this only made sense because we found out early in the chapter that a visitor, this is either from Colette or from Serge, when we believed he was a good guy, that Serge says that there was a fortune teller and a guy with a bat. We later learned in this chapter who that person was affiliated with, and how this guy even came to learn about this information.
Yeah, but essentially, once the group is aware of Serge's plan to try and take them out, they try to lay a trap to kind of go back to the mansion and try to, figure out what else is going on. Things happen. They get separated because the goons decide to show up. Doug chases after Serge because he's.
Oh no, Grin. So they saw Jerome sneaking late at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then that's what caused them to like go out, and then they were snuck up on attacked.
Yeah, they saw Jerome sneaking late at night. That leads into the garden with like a bunch of statues and shit.
And this became the Doug show. What's so fascinating about this chapter is that Doug was the main POV compared to Lavi and Bookman. I mean, Lavi was a big focus in prior to Doug showing up, or these events, but like once it was like several chapters of just following Doug, and it felt like a horror story, or like
Doug is by the way a finder, and it was established early on that both Doug and Lavi are kind of acquaintances or friends.
Yeah,
and they've worked once before, and Lavi has saved Doug's life, and initially, Lavi had a hard time trying to talk to Doug, or and then now, or prior to the beginning of the adventure, Lavi sees Doug as an equal because he can look at him without any issue.
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Yeah, because like Lavi, this chapter goes like a lot into Lavi's internal conflict about him being a bookman, but also like unable to like display or show any emotion because it's not his place to. But these other people don't get it, so they think that Lavi, they have this impression that Lavi is an extremely cold, callous person who doesn't care about them, when in reality he does. But he's just not allowed to. But they became friends nonetheless and respected each other, which is
we find out that basically Serge is this piece of shit, and while we're chasing him, something happens, and Doug basically hides behind like a statue, like a bush or whatever, and Colette shows up, and we find out that Colette's been being abused by Serge.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, completely determined to take Doug out and kind of do, what's right, Doug decides to basically, figure out what Serge is doing and handle that. While Bookman and Lavi are basically handling the goons in the back.
Yeah.
So we follow Doug's POV until Serge meets
his father. Yeah, Jerome.
Yeah, his
he tries to blackmail him, and then it's revealed. He basically finds out that Jerome has been killing all these people. He tries to blackmail him. It ends up being revealed that Jerome was actually a level 2 Akuma, and that's why he's been in this sort of state. And then he goes ham.
At that point, like Doug is kind of fighting to survive, or trying to like do something to draw the Akuma's presence away from him, away from Colette. And Serge at some point grabs Colette to use as a shield. Bro, like this guy is such a piece of shit.
Coward, straight up coward.
He's like the worst character I've seen. Ever in D.Gray Man.
He's the most despicable character we've seen in the whole story, and that's saying something because the Earl and the Noah exist, but like those are characters with charisma and like are fun. Like it's like different, man. Those guys are villains. You expect them to like be scumbags, but even they don't go as far as being this cowardly because they don't need to be cowards. They just run the fade with you and that's it. They move on. This guy's a scumbag.
Between the Akuma and Colette, and just when it looks like that's it for Doug,
Lavi comes in.
Lavi shows up, fights the level 2 Akuma, and beats him, and there's like a whole like series of like back and forth speech.
We learn we get a lot of descriptions and internalizations. We learn more about how he Doug really cares about Colette. He even got her a gift because he felt bad for her. He wanted to like improve her life.
Serge is basically scared and pathetic during this time and tries to escape and just leaves the scene because he's a pathetic coward.
Yeah.
Eventually, the small time jump where it's like Lavi and Bookman basically go to the order, and we're told that a week has passed. And during that week, Colette and Doug have basically, or Colette is now working for Doug and is, kind of like settling in with Doug. So that's great. So she doesn't work with the Jerome household anymore.
This is when we find out that so while this was happening, Alan had just went to Rewind Town, the Volume 3 setting. So we pretty much learned that, okay, this is like during the events or slightly before, because it implied that Alan had just went to Rewind Town. So it's like, okay, this is before the events of Volume 3 starting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Lavi and Bookman were going through.
Yeah,
and then we also learned. We also learned that Lavi had been a bookman for 2 years prior to the setting to the present.
Yeah, no, he'd been associated with the order.
No, with an exorcist. He's been an exorcist for 2 years before this.
My bad. Yeah, 2 years before that.
Yeah.
We were told that based on the timeline, you can figure out that Alan and Lenalee were dealing with Miranda and the whole situation rewinding time when they met Road Camelot for the first time.
Yeah.
That's what was happening there. But while that was going there, back in the Black Order, Lavi decides to take a rest and kind of just reminisce on like Doug and the adventures and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Lavi was feeling good too. Like he felt happy.
Things start going awry at the Order. Like almost immediately, and like there's like pools of blood everywhere, and Lavi's like, "What the hell is that noise?" And he begins to investigate. And there's like trails of bodies, been stabbed with giant holes that look like around the same size as something that the Akuma he dealt with earlier. And he's like, "That's not possible because I beat the Akuma. So what's going on?"
Yeah. How could it sneak past through the gatekeeper?
Yep. And he keeps following the lead until it leads him into a room, and
they say Doug.
Lo and behold, he finds a guard who's dying, and the guard basically, as his last words, mentions Doug. And Lavi's conflicted, but follows the trail because that's his duty as a exorcist. And lo and behold, he finds Doug, or rather, what was Doug. Turns out. It's an Akuma in Doug's body. And we find out that during the week that, it took them to travel from Elise to the Black Order.
We meet Dobin, and we find out that the fortune teller, aka the bat, that looks like a skull, was a servant of the Millennium Earl, and on behalf of the Millennium Earl, he'd been pretty much scheming and orchestrating everything. Damn near most of everything that we've seen.
Yeah, he's Dobie. I think that was his name.
Yeah, Dobie.
He convinces Serge to get the diamond that the girl Colette had taken it. Serge then proceeds to kill them.
Yeah, choke her to death.
Yeah, choked her to death, strangled her to death. She died. Ridden with grief, Doug basically decided to tried to bring Colette back.
Yeah.
At which point, Doug got turned into an Akuma, and both Colette is dead, Doug is dead, and now Lavi, with this realization of burden and trauma, having just, saved both of them and confronted both of them, and hope and experienced that they might have had a happy ever after. Nope, things just went south.
Yeah, Doug was broken, he lost all it made him lose his faith in God, and this was something that was being foreshadowed throughout the descriptions in his internal monologue about if God is real, he wouldn't bring any harm, he wouldn't let any harm befall this girl, and that ended up happening. And we also learned that the statue of the goddess was just nothing more than a rumor that was spread by the Earl.
Yep, it never existed.
Yep. And then one of the most heartbreaking fights ends up ensuing. And Lavi has to pretty much destroy and kill what remains of his friend. And he's crying. Yep. Bookman Sr. is watching. And he finally achieves this goal. And he tells him, well done. But Lavi's essentially scarred after this
because he's he's not the same anymore.
Yeah. There goes the optimism. He's much more hardened. Yeah.
It takes him a bit, to recover. I don't know if it's like how many
days. It was a couple
of
days because by the time we learned at the end of that chapter, he then goes to meet Alan which happens at the very end of volume 3.
Yeah, Komui basically recruits him and tells him how sorry he is, but you could see Lavi's not the same anymore.
Yeah. He tells him it's a war.
Distant, and then offers him the mission to go to Rewinding Town.
Mm-hmm. It puts so much more into perspective on Lavi's journey, character. His path, and why he reacted the way he did when he thought Alan was dead.
The cost and burden of being a bookman.
Yeah.
What that actually means.
Yeah.
Of being unable to attach yourself emotionally to people you care about.
Mm-hmm.
For the preservation of truth through an unbiased standpoint, and the weight of that is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially when you're caught as an exorcist in a war between the Millennium Earl's plans and other types of random pieces of shit random humans come across them.
Yeah.
And the Black Order's own goals and agendas and stuff. So yeah, this is by far the most emotionally impactful story that we've read in both volumes. Easily.
Easy.
It's also my favorite. My favorite so far.
Best chapter of the light novels.
Yeah, best chapter.
And it was fascinating because we thought Doug was gonna die. He was gonna die in this whole ordeal, but he somehow managed to evade death, and we were like, okay, is he gonna live? Yeah. Because we thought the
story does a good job of having you
fakes you out, gives you hope.
Doug's death the entire time, and then allows you to kind of drop your guard at the end.
Yeah.
Assuming everything's all right. Because they finished that mission and they made it back, and then when it's revealed what happens off screen, it kind of, from a writing perspective, it kind of hurts because it's like a knife in the back.
Yeah.
Or
because you were prepared for this man to die, and you also develop and build an attachment to this finder, this character, because of his dynamic with Lavi and how emotional this is for Lavi, and
what kind of a good dude Doug actually is throughout the entire story. You kind of resonate with Doug to a point where you're this is a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a rough
phenomenal chapter.
Great, phenomenal.
Yeah. Good
writing. Action facts was fine. The mystery was fine. Character building was great. I don't know what you want. It was a 10 S tier chapter.
It literally is up there with the manga itself.
It might as well, me and Hart said, it should have just been a chapter in the manga. It just should have been.
Yeah, it could have been.
It was so good.
We understand why, because timeline, but damn, this was good. This was up there. Yeah. I'd be very sad if this was not adapted in the anime. Yeah. I'd want to watch this in the anime. Grin, I have a question for you, man. This is something I wanted to ask. And similarly to Kanda, in the second chapter of the first light novel, considering we barely get content of that man, and that chapter pretty much also made us like Kanda glazers. What were your thoughts of Lavi pre-chapter 2 light novel reverse 2 and after this? How much of Lavi's
just adds so much more emotional weight. Me and Hart, we talked about it. The scene in the manga where after Tiki after Tiki takes Alan out, post the Suman a dark fight, and Lavi and Lenali and the rest of them are left in the dark with the I forgot who it was, but one of the generals basically says that Alan might not be an exorcist anymore.
That was Wong, yeah.
Because he's Wong, yeah.
Yeah.
and then we see the unfolding of events before the level 3, shows up in the ocean, where Lenely and Lavi crash out.
Yeah.
Like, we discussed that this gives so much more weight to why Lavi acted the way he did during the boat scene, because what happened to Alan directly reminds Lavi of how he failed Doug.
We also talked about how Alan, personality-wise, is very much like a Doug character, where he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's much more emotional, much more very selfless, and he saw like his old friend with an Alan. And the worst part about being a friend of a finder is that these guys have very low life expectancy. These guys die in droves. That's like the calling name of the job. And this was his only ever friend who ever treated him like a human.
Just like the second chapter in the first volume, I feel like I really resonate with Lavi now.
Yeah.
Like there's weight. There's weight.
Yeah, a lot more emotional weight to his character. And Grin, remember the part literally in the volume that we read, where Tiki's like mocking him, talking about how Alan and then Lavi's like, shut up. Even
currently, Tiki's right now. He's right now fighting Tiki right now.
Yeah. We were seeing Lavi get very emotional and riled up. And we saw that element when he was having to confront the Aqua turned Doug.
Conda is also, that was great. And then the third chapter was kind of, the third story in the light novel was a very goofy...
pure comedy.
Story. It doesn't fit anywhere within the timeline. And it's just a,
it's as far as we know.
With,
it feels like
it's a goofy comedy chapter with, different kinds of characters. All the different characters we've seen in the story so far. Just interacting and talking with each other in the setting of there's a party going on, and Komui's just being himself and
just trolling everybody.
He's just trolling everybody.
Alan's here, Conda's here, Lavi's here, Bookman is here. The characters from the Asia branch, besides Foe.
Yeah, it's a nice, fun, goofy chapter.
Yeah, nice, fun, goofy chapter where it's just all the characters together. And it was just literally the whole thing is Comey suspects that someone's that Lenely has a boyfriend. He thinks it's someone from the Black Order. So he pretty much
creates a super elaborate
everyone
party
through hell
just to figure out who it is. And that's about it.
There's really nothing to talk about. The bulk of this video will be us talking about that second chapter. Compared to that chapter where it's only gonna take us it literally only took 2 minutes.
Me and Hart kind of laughed or chuckled a little bit during that third story, but when I was done, my mind was still
on that second chapter.
Still kind of locked in on the Lavi story because I want to see that. If that was animated, I want to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
I'm very happy with the fact that we know that the first and second chapter of the first light novel that was animated. So I'm okay, hopefully this was also animated because I need to see what this looks like. I need to see that. I need to see that emotion. Because, man, this added so much, more depth to Lavi. I don't think he'll ever be... Well, I don't know about... I'm not going to say that he won't be at my top 5, but...
He might.
Listen, man, he could be up there. He could be up there, but I know my number 1 is reserved for the Millennium Goat. The Goat Earl.
I don't know.
This is a great... this is a great volume, man. Very great chapters.
The more we do these, both the volume read-throughs with the actual manga and then also read the, light novels, the more attached, the more, interesting each of these kind of characters come. They feel more... There's more emotional depth, and I can resonate with them more.
Yeah, my appreciation.
It would really suck if in the story one of them died.
Yeah,
because that would actually be very impactful for the story.
It's crazy that a single chapter of a light novel was what really did us in for Lavi's character. He was slowly cooking for us where we are right now in the manga, But this single chapter was what really pushed him. Was what really pushed him in the discussion of like really great characters. I'm like, damn, okay, I can see the vision of why people like this guy Lavi so much, because that chapter alone. And Grin, I'd say that reverse volume 2, way better than volume 1. Way better than volume 1. Literally just because of that second chapter.
It was great. Mm-hmm. Volume 1 also had a lot with Alan's whole story
and Conda. Yeah, and the Bach one was fine. That was good.
It was goofy.
It was goofy.
It was goofy.
Yeah.
They needed to keep it.
Yeah, but second one had
Lavi's story. Lavi's story is I think Lavi's story for me was more impactful than both Alan and Conda's.
It was the longest one too.
Yeah, it was easily the longest one. But that's it. Those are our thoughts on the light novel Reverse Volume 2. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And we'll see you for our usual, I guess, read-through of the next volume.
All right. Take care.
Dude, I can't wait to see what happens next. I really can't.
Yeah, me too, man.